So this is Kodu Game Lab, which is a tool made by Microsoft. And my research team over 2011-2012 at UCSC got their source code and then got to dig through it and try to add some functionality to it. Specifically, we were trying to see if adding narrative functionality and some emotional functionality to the code base would make this a more attractive tool for middle school girls. So if you're not familiar with Kodu, basically it's a 3D visual programming environment and also game design tool. So you can add characters to the world, you can make a world, and then you can go in and program them. So here's the main character, who I just made pretty quickly before this started. So you can move around with the game stick. If he bumps an apple, grab it. And then if he's holding that and he bumps into his fish friend, he'll give the apple over. There's our apple. And then here, just to show off one of the key functions that this other developer added, is the system of needs. So a character can need something, in this case, need an apple. When the character needs the apple, he'll say something like, I need an apple. If he bumps into an apple, it'll satisfy that need. And then when that need is satisfied, he'll make some hearts. So as you can tell, this is a pretty complicated bit of code for a student to get into if they've never programmed before. And we wanted this behavior to be as easy as some of the built-in functionality, like moving is really easy to get up and running in Kodu, and so is the combat, interestingly enough. Like, for example, I could program this little apple here that when it sees the fish, it just shoots it. And that would be up and running in those 3 little bits of code. And you'll see, there it goes, shoots it, and decimated that guy. So I'm going to get rid of that line. But we wanted to try to make the narrative stuff as easy to get up and running. So that's kind of where I came in and started digging through the code base and tried to figure out how to do code detection and automatic insertion. So what I ended up doing was making a system that would insert default code if only a fragment of this need code was in place. So if I get rid of a bunch of it, and basically I'm left with just this person needs an apple. On its own, that would do nothing. And the code wouldn't work and might result in kind of a frustrated student. So now if I let it play, you'll see that automatically things are happening. This person's saying I need an apple, and if I bring the apple over, ta-da, we get a nice loving response. So what's happened behind the scenes is that my system has gone in and automatically inserted the necessary code. And it's a really nice learning tool because as you can see, this is a pretty complicated bit of code to get up and running. And by having this automatic insertion in, we found that the students were able to see what, well-formed need-based code would be. And then they could just go in and make some modifications. So like, for example, instead of doing hearts, maybe they want to give the player some points when the apple comes through. So they could more easily modify some defaults and get to, kind of get the payoff from that. So now instead of getting the hearts, when I bring the apple over, I get my 50 points there. So the other big project I worked on regarding this was to do some code, some UI restructuring. When we first got it, these wheels were pretty ugly. There were a lot of nested menus going down layers, and things weren't categorized too nicely. So now we have things like a needs submenu, a location submenu. If we look on this side especially, you can see some of the stuff like design. We can express things and have color and glow and make sounds, which before they were kind of scattered a little bit. It was a little bit hard to track down some of that stuff, and we found the students were having some issues. So like all the giving and throwing and behaviors are grouped together. So those are the main modifications I made to Kodu. And thanks for checking it out. It was a lot of fun to work with, and we got some really, really great results.